What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up, gang? Happy Monday. Happy first day of the week. News.
That is right. It is the first day of the week for some news. How was your weekend, Kaisa?
It was pretty good. Just streamed. All the peeps in chat I've seen so recently ago. Welcome back.
It's like, welcome back. I only saw you 7 hours ago.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. You have that capability of like staying up super late and streaming. Right?
Yeah, I've dug a hole for myself because that's just my stream schedule, and now I can't get out of it. And I just have to deal with it.
Yeah, you were the one that bought the shovel and started digging.
Yes, that was me. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was Warzone and working on pre-production for a film that Kika and I are producing. So just keeping it going while you can.
Keeping it going. Yes, Kane, I did see you there. Yes, absolutely. So for anyone new to the stream, I am Kaisa.
I am Roan, and we are the hosts of DGN, which is the Daily Gaming News Hour, which we are live from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And some of what we'll be covering today is Facebook gaming, because that was a question in the mailbag about what Facebook is doing. We're going to be going over the DC Fandome events with Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and then we're going to get into some DualSense haptics.
Yeah, we're also going to do we're going to have a watch and react of the Gotham Knights official gameplay trailer, which is actually really fun to watch, but there's a little bit of flack going on YouTube about this video, which we'll talk about as we're going through it. And then we're also going to be discussing how Microsoft has come out and issued a public statement in support of Epic Games.
And then we're also going to delve into some flight simulator news and Minecraft education. And as always, since we got our mugs with your channel points redemptions, excited to see who can guess what's in our mugs today.
What's in our mugs today, huh?
Let us know what you want the prize to be, besides just a congratulations.
Don't think I made it easy this time with just a quick guess like coffee like it was last time.
Yeah, I tried to make it a little trickier as well.
Same here. I was like, what do I want to put into my mug today? That's hilarious. All right, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's get right in here.
So our first story for the day is talking about how it looks like Facebook is trying to win gamers over politely now that Microsoft's live streaming platform is dead.
So we've got a question, in the mailbag of like, what is Facebook gaming doing? What is their relevancy? And this is kind of an update of what Facebook has been doing recently. So after Microsoft's live streaming platform, Mixer, shut down, RIP, on July 23rd, its site began redirecting users to Facebook gaming, encouraging former Mixer content creators to make the jump to its one-time rival.
Many considered Facebook uncool, so they ultimately resisted. And the tech behemoth is aware of its reputation. And they even came out and said, we are taking the approach of introducing ourselves politely, showing up, and just respectfully delivering results.
With Mixer out of the picture, the landscape for live streaming games remains dominated by Amazon's Twitch, AO, which hit over 5 billion hours watched for the quarter ending in June, followed by Google's YouTube with 1.5 billion hours watched. Again, that was 5 billion hours for Twitch, 1.5 for YouTube. Facebook gaming comes in third, substantially behind the others with 822 million hours watched, according to a report from Streamlabs, which is owned by Logitech.
So hours watched is one of the most common metrics for measuring a live streaming platform's popularity, as well as its success, indicating to advertisers and onlookers just how many millions of people are on the platform with money to spend on content creators through subscriptions and donations.
In the quarter ending in June before it shut down, Mixer finished in last place with 106 million hours watched, according to Streamlabs. Mixer said in a June blog post that the platform had failed to scale quickly enough.
So this was despite Mixer's splashy multi-million-dollar deals with streamers like Ninja and Shroud, and the platform made headlines for signing content creators to exclusive multi-year deals offering millions of dollars over the past year.
Analysts and competitors alike have reflected on what they've learned about the strategy of throwing money to attract the most popular creators. Mixer's fate proved that fans don't always follow a creator onto a new platform.
So Sharma came out and said this, that we don't really go and chase after big names because we don't think it's a purely content business. If you do think it's a purely content business, you end up becoming more sorely disappointed because often the numbers don't come.
So Dora Neer, CEO of Stream Element, said acquiring talent can be an effective strategy for other platforms like YouTube, but building a community is also important.
And then Neer also added that I just don't think that dumping $20 million or $30 million on talent is a silver bullet. Something I actually agree with Facebook on there, because he says that there are no silver bullets.
Thank you so much, Blind, for the bits.
Hey,
thank you.
Blind.
So when reached for comment, Twitch directed CNN Business to a tweet in June where it wished Mixer streamers well and said Twitch is here to help. It also referred CNN Business to its press page where it states that it has 17.5 million average daily visitors, but doesn't break out monthly user data.
So Facebook Gaming said that more than 700 million of its 2.4 billion active users engage with gaming content on its platform each month. That's the same statistic it gave CNN Business last November, and Sharma acknowledges that the number has not changed, although engagement and hours watched in the most recent quarter are up 200% over last year.
Sharma said, we feel very proud that our number is large, but we're not just empty calories on our way to success. We're not just adding more random eyeballs. We're actually deepening the engagement, which I think is an important distinction to make.
It really is, because for the first time, Facebook is breaking down what those 700 million plus people are doing. More than 380 million of them play games such as Farmville each month, and 200 million watch gaming live streams. Some 230 million participate in gaming groups, and some of these people are doing more than one activity, so they may be counted multiple times.
About 120 to 130 game creators initially rejected overtures from Facebook Gaming, but eventually moved after seeing others successfully do so, said Sharma, although he declined to share how many Mixer streamers moved to Facebook.
And then much of Facebook Gaming's strength is on mobile and in regions outside of the US where Twitch hasn't planted its flag. On Friday, the Facebook Gaming mobile app launched in iOS after Apple repeatedly rejected a version of the app that would contain games. That app was released on Android in April.
One reason for the delay was a version of Facebook's app contained games that violated Apple's App Store's guideline, saying that an app can't look too much like Apple's own store. We have covered a lot of this whole App Store fiasco, but it also extends, into Facebook Gaming here, with the whole antitrust regulatory scrutiny in the US and in Europe for its App Store practices, and Apple did not respond for comment.
And after Mixer shut down, Twitch streamer Ninja, who we all know, the biggest star on the platform, surprised everyone with a YouTube live stream before later returning to Twitch as well. And he has not announced an exclusive contract with either platform.
So YouTube's global head of gaming, Ryan Wyatt, wrote in an email, "We welcome any content from him. Engagement is up across the board during the pandemic. YouTube Gaming has 200 million daily active users and, does not have monthly data to share. The overall YouTube platform has 2 billion logged in users every month." I love Melissa's comment, but I want to be on Facebook less. That's one reason why you game.
Yeah, Malice does games.
Malice.
Yeah, that's hilarious because I am that same person who have stopped using Facebook so frequently. I barely use it, maybe just to post every now and then. But it's like, no, come back and use our gaming stuff and become back on Facebook. And it's like, no, you guys have already lost me. There's the fade away. It's already fading.
Right, there's already that disconnect. So a lot of people are confused by Facebook streamers. I used to think Facebook gaming was like lame and random and it just seems like a money grab. But I've talked to some Facebook streamers and they're actually super happy on the platform.
Wow.
They've said that there's a lot of, people wanting to watch content, not a lot of streamers. People are generally way nicer, I think, because your personal profile is attached to, your comments in the chat. Yeah, and they also said that a lot of the demographic is generally a bit older, so people have more money to spend, actually. And so they're like, let's trolls more money, come to Facebook, Kaisa. Yeah, and it's I kind of feel the same way about Facebook. I'm not a fan of Mark Zuckerberg. I'm very vocally critical of things that he's done, and I haven't had the chance to try it out yet. I'd be kind of curious as to what that experience might be like, but I mean, I deleted my Facebook profile with over 1,000 friends on there and try to spend as little time as possible on Facebook. And so I think getting into Facebook gaming, I don't know what that means for someone like me who, threw away my network that was on there to try to rebuild that for this. Yeah,
what's going on, Ren? Welcome. Yeah, I'm in that same kind of boat. As you were talking and mentioning those things, I was like, oh, wow, those are benefits. Those are direct
They
benefits
are.
you look for with streaming. And it's tough because I'm in that same boat where it's like anything that Facebook does now is tainted to me, and
Yes.
it doesn't matter. It's never going to remove that feeling. So the fact that they were like, we're coming out politely and we're doing this is like, yeah, you don't really have another choice in the matter because you've burned a lot of bridges with, you know, the public and how you've handled everything. So this resistance makes sense. And unfortunately, even after, you know, going through this and talking about it, I'm still resistant to even just going over there and starting to try Facebook gaming.
I think Facebook gaming is probably going to have kind of its own stars, or maybe, you know, the people on Facebook, I could see them having a lot of success, but I'm not sure that, you know, content creators on YouTube or Twitch are going to make the jump over unless they do more marketing outreach. Because if I had never met those Facebook, you know, gaming streamers, I would still think that Facebook gaming is lame and stupid and not worth my time. And so, like, I'm surprised they're not doing more outreach. You know, they're kind of just staying there politely, but that's also not getting the message out. And I could see people jumping over to Facebook gaming if they do have a big brand deal, but it seems like, you know, Facebook isn't necessarily interested in doing that. So I'm curious to see, you know, how it's going to go. I think it's overall going to be successful because there is a built-in user base. I think Mixer had a tough time. Yeah, and some other websites have a tough time because they also have to create the user base and the streamer base, whereas in Facebook, there's already millions of people you know, on the platform.
They're just there and they're already using it. That's so true. Guff, tell us how it goes. If you do jump in there, Guff was saying he wants to try it out. Your real-life friends can support you more easily as well, and that's true because there are a few people on Facebook where I'm like, yeah, just come watch it on Twitch. How do I do that? And that's like, oh, that's a really interesting moment of having a conversation there. Yeah, and I'm sure the same would go for other streaming platforms. Like, oh, hey, come check me out on here. And you're like, but how do I do that? Where it's like, yeah, just log into Facebook. You'll see me. I'm live and just come in and watch me. Interesting. Yeah, that adds some appeal.
It does, you know, it's less in the kind of gamer space and it's just more of like, oh, you can watch, you know, you can watch your friends stream here. You can check them out. It's more approachable. As you said, you know, it's already extension of someone's, you know, day to day already. If that is their day to day, it's certainly not mine, but
it's true. I am also concerned with like the family members I have on Facebook from coming in and seeing how I am when I'm gaming. I'm like, you might see me rage. I'm just going to let you know that now. Like, you might hear and see some things that you're like, shame.
Yeah, that is kind of a, you know, a drawback. A lot of people, you know, have stopped using Facebook because their parents are on there, because all their grandparents and cousins, and they're like, love you all, but this is kind of my own thing. Like, this isn't the same as Thanksgiving dinner. Like, thanks.
Yeah, that's so true. We'll keep an eye on this. For those of you that do dive into Facebook gaming, please let us know what you think about it and if you enjoy it, and if you do actually see like a return faster than you've seen, you know, on other platforms like Twitch. But our next story is directly out of the DC Fandome event, which took place this past weekend, and we had two really big reveals come out of that event.
So the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer was released and out for next gen in 2022. And then we're also going to do a watch and react to Gotham Knights, which was announced as well.
So Rocksteady has finally pulled the curtain back on their next DC project, which is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. In it, we're going to see Harley, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and more. Not sure if the entire Suicide Squad is represented in the game, but it is a good start. And let's go ahead and check out that trailer.
I'm like, I love it already.
August 30th
Right?
is taking heavy fire. Get to Park Ridge ASAP.
Don't worry, boss. We got this. Hey, Boomer! Lay down suppressant fire!
Keep it down, Hal. The ears are still ringing after that last Barney.
What is that? Australian for hangover?
I believe I can translate. Boomerang has a concussion. From the enemy you missed in our last encounter.
Guess those teeth are sharper than your eyes, Shark Man.
Was King Shark in Suicide Squad?
I never.
You never miss.
Never miss.
Yeah, they
we
just, I
bloody
think the
know.
way they
You
went
better
about it
shut up about
didn't
it.
really work. At least the movie.
X. Alpha target is in the open. Get your asses to
The voice actors
Grand
are
Hotel
perfect.
and engage.
Yeah,
Before I have
they do
another
great work
reason to
already.
blow those bombs in your heads.
I love the song choice.
I was hoping for a good soundtrack. Here we go.
What's going on, silly one?
What's up?
Ah, shit!
You're torn on the graphics of this one.
Smooth.
Well, that should knock a few years off the old sentence.
That's reminding me of something. Oh, yeah! Waller's stupid alpha target. Who are we supposed to be killing again?
Oh, look, it's Superman. The mighty Superman has just rescued that pilot.
What a show-off. Beat it, Spandex! We're on a top-secret assassination mission here!
No. No. So, figure out who we're killing yet? Oh, fuck!
Those traces on. Did you ever think of pimp rock a microphone like that? There, boy, and we still stay street. Big things happen every time we meet, like a track.
It's so great. I guess when I first saw this and even now, I wasn't so critical of the graphics. Because I'm just so excited for the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest bummer to me is the date, 2022.
Yeah.
We got
that's
quite
a
some time
while.
before we're seeing this game and getting our hands on it. Which part of me is like, what's going on, Rocksteady? It's taking you guys a while. Like your last game was 2015.
Yeah, this is Rocksteady's first new DC title in 5 years. Their last one, Batman Arkham Knight, was back in June of 2015. It concluded the story of Batman in the Arkham universe, and since then, fans have been speculating. It took a while for this game to come out, and 2022 is sadly so far away.
Yeah, it really is. And actually following that reveal, studio boss Sefton Hill actually took to the virtual stage during the DC Fandome event, and they were actually able to give us a little bit more of the info regarding the all-villain ensemble title. And Sefton Hill started by saying that Kill the Justice League will be a superhero empowerment game combined with gunplay.
Hill added that the game will be a 1 to 4 player co-op affair and can be played solo or with friends. If you're not playing multiplayer with anyone, their spots will be filled with bots. Hill confirmed that the game will take place on Metropolis and how the city will act as the game's 5th character of a sort.
So I find that 1 to 4 player co-op is probably going to be really fun. I think we're about to get a glimpse of what that's going to look like within Gotham Knights, which is the gameplay we're about to show next, which shows off co-op, which we had been talking about. Funny enough, we had been addressing their next game, whatever Batman is, it should be co-op, whether you could be Batman and Robin or Batman and Catwoman. So
Right.
Gotham Knights was revealed, and then they showed off this gameplay, and we're about to actually go ahead and just jump right into the Gotham Knights gameplay reveal. But do take into account everything that you're about to see here was captured in pre-alpha game footage.
Waffle says better than crunch culture, I guess, though. I guess so, too, as long as they also get the whole harassment thing at Rocksteady under control, because it doesn't seem like they've really addressed it.
Completely.
Got about a dozen people frozen here. Need paramedics ASAP. All units, shootout in progress at Elliott Center.
Multiple accidents. Too many. We can't respond to them all. Where the hell is our backup?
Hi, I'm Patrick Redding, creative director on Gotham Knights. On behalf of the whole team at WB Games Montreal, I'm really honored to give you a quick look at our gameplay.
Belfry, Elliott Center is covered in ice.
I'm like, wait, pre-alpha?
Whatever's causing this is
This looks amazing.
We're going to look at a short clip from one of Gotham Knights' villain crimes in a pre-alpha build. This mission is halfway through the Mr. Freeze storyline, and we're playing Batgirl a dozen or so hours into her character progression.
Oh, this is I didn't even notice it was Batgirl until they said it.
Yeah, it's Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and one other person that I can't remember.
All units at Elliott Center. Air support inbound. Hostiles opening fire on upper floors. Air support, can you do a fly around?
Freeze has recently returned to Gotham with a mysterious agenda that involves manipulating the weather to flash freeze the city.
We need a way to get through that ice.
An important goal for Gotham Knights was that players can play all of the game, either solo or in
Very
two-player
cool.
If
co-op.
he wants a fight, he'll get it.
Red Hood. Red Hood's the other one.
Robin's learned how to access the Justice League satellite for short-range teleportation.
It does, yeah. I'm actually excited about this one too, Gup.
I'm excited to play as Robin
While Batgirl
more than
is
anything,
mastered
really.
Yeah.
more familiar techniques. And developed a few new ones of our own.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
This is more gameplay than we saw in the Xbox event.
Here. Heard you down there having some
Yeah,
fun.
Nathaniel,
I just
I'd
say that
play
every
as
time.
Red Hood for
Just a
sure.
heads up, the chopper
Red Hood or
will
Nightwing?
fire on anything that moves inside.
Is who I'm interested in playing as.
I'm the total opposite. I'm
Right.
like Robin or Batgirl.
Batgirl, that's awesome. So we'll have to play some co-op when it comes out.
Yeah, there we go. Yo, what's up, Nathaniel?
The storm is getting worse. You need to hurry and find a way inside Elliott Center.
The GCPD chopper made that part easy.
Nice. Woke up to check out some amazing gameplay.
Yeah, woke up to catch
This
the
doesn't look up
news.
to
Your
code.
internal clock knows.
These graphics are amazing. I'm still
is
like
great.
pre-alpha.
If anyone asks, I meant to do that.
I won't say a word.
Tours were still going on when Freeze came through.
Those poor people.
The
They didn't
DC
stand a
movies
chance.
can't decide what storyline to stick to. Are you talking about the
Gotham
Batman?
Knights is built to let players approach each challenge with their preferred style and their preferred build.
You know how cold it is up there, right? You want to dive exposure? Be my guest.
There's some Red Hood. Yeah.
This will only take a second.
Oh, and another Suicide Squad, yeah.
I think I've always been impressed with the graphics of the Arkham series.
I think they've always been great. They've always
Yeah.
done I think I'm always impressed with how many different things are going on, like seeing the whole city in the background, or seeing all the things that are happening in the building. This is Rocksteady.
No precision. Dad, you're it.
Oh, nice. That was cool. Little tag team moves.
Yeah.
I wonder if in your skill progression you unlock certain ones with certain characters.
Good question.
Not the safest time to take the elevator.
You'd rather take the stairs?
Cheers.
These cables on the floor. Guaranteed they lead to freeze.
This is Rocksteady. I think Rocksteady's doing this game as well.
Belfry, status.
For Gotham Knights?
Countless dead, and the
I
temperature's
think it's
still
out of the
falling.
beginning.
We need to stop
Yeah.
this. Now.
I mean, I don't know how it works. I assume WB works with it because this is Warner Brothers IP.
Almost there.
Oh, WB Games Montreal is taking over the Arkham storyline from Rocksteady while they work on Suicide Squad. So why the hell is Suicide Squad coming out in 2022, Rocksteady? That's 7 years. 7 years. I got some questions for Rocksteady.
Oh my god.
Field disruptors in place.
I don't know if I could imagine working on one project like that for 7 years. Thanks so much for the gifted sub, Blind.
Oh, thank you so much, Blind.
Is that what you're calling it? You don't want to be on the roof when this disruptor goes off. Trust me.
Irrelevant. I already have what I need. The storm has risen over Gotham. Nothing can
Does
stop
Dr.
it.
Freeze's wife involved?
See about that.
Good question.
I'm not sure.
Oh, nice.
An important element of Gotham Knights is that as the player increases in power and ability, their foes keep pace. So confronting a villain like Mr. Freeze can be a very different proposition at level 5 or level 15. And not just in terms of stats, but in the kinds of attacks and defenses they bring to bear.
Dr. Freeze is only involved if it has to do with his wife, usually.
Usually,
That was
yeah.
just a short peek at Gotham Knights. We're going to have more to show you in the future.
Maybe he's a strong, independent man now. He don't need his wife no more.
I've gotten over it, everybody. I'm no longer upset by my wife.
It looks good. I thought that gameplay looked good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I've wanted this co-op experience. I think it's been a time coming for that game for quite some time. That I don't know. I'm of the mindset of I want to, when you talk about like skill trees and character progression and you start to say those things, I want to see that. You know,
Right,
I know it might be like, oh, we can't show too much of that, but with Marvel's Avengers, they really showed what the skill tree looks like. How deep does it go? Is it shallow and it's just there, for aesthetics? Or is it like, hey, I really want to make my, my version of Batgirl more of like a gadget-focused type Batgirl? Or is she going to be like, I'm going to be a brawler type of Batgirl? Like, where does that go? So I'm kind of left a little bit like, what? But I enjoyed it.
Yes, yeah. I don't think it's a spoiler at all if they, eventually, talk about the skill trees and how your Batgirl can be different from someone else's. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. As you said, it's just more of kind of like details of the game, of how in depth, that is.
Yeah.
Especially since, this is co-op, which I think it's cool that you can still have your own style of how you play your character. And you can really, play how you want to play in general. I thought it looked great. I thought, the storyline from what I saw looks good. The gameplay looked fun. I noticed it didn't look too crazy hard of a game.
Yeah.
And it seems like something more you can just kind of like enjoy and play through it. It's not like grindy or, it seems like it's good fun.
Yeah, it's also the continuation of commentary from what I was saying before with the dislikes on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Was rooted in people saying, well, one, it being a co-op game they didn't like, the aspects of character building, like live service character building. They felt like, oh, we're going to get a Batman game, but it's going to be more rooted in like microtransactions and things that we've seen from these live services experiences, where I'm at that point now of like, it's so so much of a commonplace within gaming. Why we're upset, I somewhat understand, but at the same time, we should be expecting this. You know what I mean? Like, I think this should be becoming a norm for us, that as we see these new games come out, they're trying to figure out ways to create a service that is, you know, passive earnings for the company. And I'm not as upset as some of these people in the chat. If you go to the YouTube video from the official gameplay, like, there are people in there that are pretty vocal about their displeasure.
So right now, this gameplay walkthrough that we saw has 113,000 views, 1.8K thumbs ups, and 3.3K thumbs downs on it. So about 3 times more thumbs downs for this. Some of the comments say, "This isn't what I had in mind. Why are there levels above the enemies' heads? The Ubisoft effect. The level system sucks in these kinds of games. Stop adding levels to these games. Pack it up. It looks like another game as a service." People are really hating on this level system.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't seem to be about, you know, Dr. Freeze. Is that his name? I don't know much about Dr. Freeze,
Mr.
but
Freeze,
people are
yeah.
not Mr. Freeze. People aren't fans of Freeze here.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are like diehards that played the prior games, but I'm looking at this gameplay and I'm like, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah,
I'm not that critical of it.
Right. Yeah. It's. I think it's just this fear, which it makes sense, like a fear of, you guys are just trying to get more money out of us. It'll become super grindy. But for me, like with superhero stuff, when it's like, hey, customize your character, play the game more to unlock stuff, like that's what keeps me coming back for more. And that's what, if there's challenges out there to unlock a very cool, you know, Batgirl outfit, and I'm able to complete those challenges and unlock it, awesome. If you give me the option to pay for it and I choose that I want to pay for it, great. But don't lock it. Just give me the options of how to figure it out. And I'm personally okay with that.
What's up, Dragos? Yeah,
Dragos.
I actually really like that. I'm like, I don't feel like I have to pay money, but, you know, if I want to, I can, versus if something's only locked behind a paywall, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to pay for this. Like, you know, screw this. You know, I'm not going to deal with this kind of content. The comments are really bizarre to me. One person says, "Gaming is dead. Look what happened to gaming, guys." Cry face. Nice 16 FPS gameplay. Like, people are so mad. I don't know if it's this, what's it called? Everyone's like pig piling just on the hate train. Like, everyone's just being like, "Oh, you're hating on this? Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, let's hate on it together.
Yeah, let's hate on it together. Yeah, let's do our co-op this way by hating on this, you know, on this co-op gameplay."
Yeah, it feels odd. And Guff, I'm with that commentary as well. Like, if I have to buy characters, I'm not gonna like that.
Down.
Give me all the options to unlock and to work through progressions to unlock and have them. And that's, if anything, adds more variety to the game. Maybe you have a progression with Red Hood, that you have a progression with you know, Robin, who's further behind, and you want to start playing as Robin with your friend who's maybe starting their character off for Nightwing. So there's all these elements that could be there that I think will be very enjoyable for those who are like, these characters are unique unto themselves, very much like we saw at a Suicide Squad. We're gonna have like characters who play completely different. We can't expect, you know, the Sharkman guy, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. We can't expect him to play like Boomerang, and we can't expect Harley Quinn to play like, you know, Deadshot. So
yeah,
these are just things that I think are new areas of gaming we're going to see, especially with the new hardware, that there's going to be more options and choices. So how do we keep and want the players to explore more?
I wonder how, you know, the bots for the co-op will be, because I like to play games solo. I'm totally fine with, you know, playing with bots, but, you know, in a lot of games, bots end up just being useless and just like kind of in your way and don't do anything.
They're just there.
Okay. Yeah, they're just there, and it's like, or sometimes it's like, okay, fine, they don't have to help me, but they're also getting in the way of my mission. Like, don't make this harder for me. I hope, as, you know, we progress more with, you know, technology in gaming, that NPCs or bots are, you know, more fun to play with. But, you know, that's just me, you know, being hopeful. Who knows if that's a priority? I don't think it is.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they'll do a reveal very much like the Marvel's Avengers beta and show more about the trees and the extent that the gameplay goes and the options that are there. Maybe that'll curb some of these concerns. We'll just have to check it out.
We'll have to check it out. But our next topic is about DualSense haptics, as it may be the most exciting PlayStation 5 innovation.
So the PlayStation 5 is now likely less than 3 months away, and so far it's managed to garner far more interest than its main competitor, the Xbox Series X, made by Microsoft.
Analysts believe the PlayStation 5 could outsell the Xbox Series X by a margin of 2-1. Certainly, so far, Sony has been able to sell the benefits of the Generation Elite better than Microsoft, opting, for example, to develop exclusive first-party PS5 titles from the get-go.
Sony has focused on highlighting the enhanced sensorial experience provided by the PlayStation 5, mainly thanks to the Tempest Engine 3D audio and the DualSense controller's adaptive triggers and haptics.
The latter may prove to be the most exciting innovation enabled by the PS5 hardware, according to many third-party developers who have already waxed praise onto the DualSense haptics capabilities, pointing out that it can produce brand new sensations while playing games. So we have a selection of quotes, about the news on the DualSense haptics.
So the president of Young Horses Games, Philip Tibitowski, came out and said this. He said, previously on pretty much any console that had vibration or rumble, it's a nice feature that sometimes can make things more immersive, but I haven't felt anything quite as intricate and sensitive as the DualSense's haptic feedback.
They went on to say, in our game being in first person, running on different terrain, jumping in and out of water, or running into bug snacks, you can feel the difference between running on grass versus running in water versus running on sand or snow. There's weather in their game, and if there's a thunderstorm and things of that nature, you can feel where the sound is coming from through the vibration.
He ended by saying, we are also using the adaptive triggers. Different traps have different functionalities, and some of those are best exhibited through tension in those triggers or rumble in them to make you feel like you're really using them.
I love the chat saying, nothing new here, that the PS5 seems more hype than the Xbox Series X. Also, more vibrations! So Bethesda's Senior VP of Marketing and Communications, Pete Hines, said, I've gotten to try the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers on this thing and was very impressed. I think games are going to do some really cool things with them. Great statement.
Yeah, then we have Supermassive Games managing director Pete Samuels coming out and saying that when you mention the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller and its features, we've actually been having some chats about that for a little while now and how we're going to go about using that.
And adds on the whole tactile thing, as much as we can transfer what you'd expect the character's experience to be directed back to the player, I think the better attachment you feel to the characters.
Which lines up with their commentary on how these games are going to feel more immersive. Because then the Techland lead gameplay designer, Timon Smetala, came out and said, I absolutely love the DualSense controller. It's an amazing design, as futuristic as we should expect in 2020, the sci-fi times that we already live in. And as for the shape, we need to see how it will fit in the hands, but looking at it, I get very good vibes, and I think it has a chance to be one of the best in history, just big enough, but neat and funky at the same time.
And also adds, I also think that the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers can be real game changers, way more than people expect right now.
And then the Codemasters developer director, Robert Karp, came out and said this. On the PlayStation 5, for example, you have the adaptive triggers that could have some really interesting implementations, particularly for racing. And there's a lot of excitement and buzz about it.
And adds, you will get different feedback based on different surfaces. We have a lot of different surface types. The haptic feedback gives us the opportunity to do something new and different to help increase the immersion and feeling.
And there's quite a few more people that are coming out and talking, different game directors from lots of different companies that are addressing this feature and why the excitement is very much there. We'll probably jump down to the last two, but Team Killa Media co-founder Micah James said, for example, we're going to make every gunshot vibrate the side of the hand that would be holding the handle of the gun, vibrate the controller dynamically according to where the enemy hits you. We're going to have the player go to the doors that have the possibility of backdraft explosions, and the character will place the left hand on the door, and if it's hot, the controller will vibrate on the left side of the controller to warn the player of an explosion if that door is opened.
I love the comment of, a storm, the controller will literally jump out of your hand. If there is there's an explosion. The controller will literally explode to make this more immersive. So the last quote we'll share is from Tango Gameworks game director Kenji Kimura, who said, "You need to experience it directly because this is very difficult to explain. But the DualSense haptics and adaptive triggers felt so good that it surprised us. We could feel and experience the various actions and attacks like never before."
And if we're going to be honest, I think it's long overdue that we need a controller update. You know, motion controls went quickly out of fashion, though we did find their natural habitat within virtual reality games, especially after the Wii generation, and the DualShock 4's touchpad and light bar didn't really add that much to the experience.
Nintendo did bring an updated HD rumble system to its Joy-Con controllers, developed alongside Immersion Corporation, the same company behind DualSense's haptics. But as often is the case with Nintendo, so far HD rumble has been mostly used well only in first-party games.
And with the PlayStation 5's DualSense, it seems like many third-party studios are already fully on board with exploiting the full potential of the highly programmable voice coil actuators, which could add another much-needed layer of immersion to the everyday gaming experience.
After all, as pointed out recently by the CEO of Immersion Corporation, we are now in the realm of diminishing returns when it comes to strictly visual improvements from hardware generation to hardware generation. It is thus more important than ever to find other ways to augment the enjoyment of playing a game on a shiny new hardware, such as the PS5, and adding tactile sensations that allow users to feel the surfaces their characters are walking on or the weapons they're holding certainly fits the bill.
I don't know if you remember when Rumble started to come into controllers and that was a thing, but it was very significant for me of like, oh, wow, the controller shakes. It's awesome. But since the Rumble and the touchpad did a little bit of like immersion, there really hasn't been anything to say like the experience with the controller has drastically changed what it feels like when you play games.
Right. It's pretty much, been the same for a long time now with just, the vibrations in the controller. And, that's about it. There hasn't been an overhaul. I agree that it's due time. I guess one thing that I have a question, about the DualSense controller is I noticed on Twitter this comment that kind of stuck with me. Someone was talking about the adaptive triggers. They have sensations that match what Sackboy would feel in the game. There's attention to each press, which conveys what the little guy is struggling to carry. And this person said, "I'm already playing these games one-handed. Don't make this harder for me, please." And I think a lot of the disabled community is thinking like, cool, but I don't want this. Like, can I play the games like while turning this off? Like, can I turn off this feature? I don't think we've really heard much about this except that you can't use your PlayStation 4 controller with the PlayStation 5, which makes me think that you can't turn it off, but maybe that's just an oversimplification of, I have no idea how the programming works on the back end.
For sure.
I personally think it's cool, but yeah, I wonder, how this is going to be addressed with people that don't want this at all.
Yeah. I want to believe they'll have a feature very much like for colorblind people, that there will be some sort of selection to pick that will be the case. But there has been some, backlash from people who are more excited about the Xbox Series X by saying, I can use all of my old controllers on the Xbox Series X. That's a win for me. And it's like, okay, while I get what it is that you're saying, that's focusing on, a small issue with consumers, whereas this is new technology, new innovation. That means you have to step into new hardware. That's just part of the whole process of what we know with like upgrading our gaming PCs, right? If you want to experience ray tracing, you got to get an RTX card. That's just the choice you have to make. Yeah, you can go and keep a GTX for previous gen and not get that feature, but you just have to make that upgrade in order to get this experience in your games. And so we need to, I think personally, be okay with this change happening. Because what it's going to mean for the gameplay experience sounds extremely exciting.
It sounds cool. Yeah, if I'm, going to drop $500 for a PS5, I want it to be new technology, particularly that I haven't had before. Some people might think that it's, cool that your Xbox controllers, are going to work with next gen, but, that's why Xbox is a different console, because it caters to a different market. And I think this also, shows some of the difference between PC gaming and console gaming, where, for a PC, you can trade out parts if you don't want, You don't want all the new shiny things. You don't have to buy it. You can just upgrade one thing if you want to, or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, with console, you're getting a whole new package. You're getting, you know, a whole new machine with new, you know, bells and whistles on it. I am all about the DualSense controller. I hope really that a lot of these developers are going to use it in ways that I didn't anticipate, such as, you know, they said if something's going to explode and you're going to feel that from one side. Like
that
I
comment,
didn't think
oh my
about
God.
that.
Just
I didn't think that was a possibility.
The fact that you could feel where the if you're shooting from the right hand, you would feel the explosion from there. And if you get shot like on your left side, the left side of the controller will register that. Like just realizing that's what's happening in game, you then will have the natural reaction of, oh, the left side of the controller rumbled. I'm getting shot from my left, because maybe you don't have a direct indication of where the fire is coming from. It's actually the feel of it in your hand that helps you, you know, adjust. That little level of detail to me is one that I'm like, I've been waiting for an experience like this in a long time, where it's less about indicators visually and it's more about feeling and sound, allowing me to, you know, figure out how to solve the problem.
Right, absolutely. And thank you so much, Kane, for gifting us up to Dragos. What is up,
Hey,
EG?
thank you. What's up, EG?
How you doing? Kane guessed what was in my cup. There's just water in my cup. Took 46 minutes for Chad to get it. Yeah, I was like, I never drink water on here.
No one's got mine. Good job, Kane. No one's got what's in Marrone's mug. So, you know, hopefully you can figure it out.
Hopefully you still got, what is it, 16 minutes, 14 minutes left to guess it. I hope that there's a merge between these new technologies, because for me, I think VR is great, but there's no immersion with the controllers, or, you know, the sound isn't really like 3D audio or anything.
Yeah.
Versus we're getting, you know, this 3D Tempest audio with the PS5, and we're having this controller that, you know, has a lot of nuances to add some immersion. I hope we can see, you know, the fusion of the two. For now, I am very happy, you know, with hearing the features of the DualSense, and I'm glad that developers, you know, and people who work in games seem to be really excited about it too.
For sure. And there's one last thing I'll add to this. I didn't throw it in as its own story, but right before we went live, there was a quick article that had popped up recently where a patent for the DualSense controllers had been discovered, that supposedly the features of the patent are, it has sensors like in your iPhone to sense it's you, and so the game will boot up knowing who's holding the controller.
Whoa!
and it'll launch the console with that profile attached to your sensory registration.
That's kind of Black Mirror.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's again that same thing that Cerny was saying about how, yeah, we're trying to find a way to like match it specifically to the user. I was like, whoa, they're really going hard at this tech here.
Yeah, they are going all for it. Wow. I wonder, you know, how that's going to be, you know, executed. For me, it's just going to be me using my PlayStation 5. So I hope it'll recognize me, you know, once that technology does come out.
We will be checking it out and excited to get that controller in hand. But it looks like probably our last story for the day is the one surrounding this wonderful topic. If we can get on to another one, we will, because of course this drama gets juicier and juicier as this goes along.
So Microsoft has issued a statement in support of Epic Games to remain on the Apple ecosystem. So now we've got an Epic versus Apple. Microsoft is joining Epic, you know, on the playground, and be like, yo, I got you.
So Microsoft's executive vice president of gaming, Phil Spencer, issued a statement on Twitter declaring a desire for ongoing support for Unreal Engine within the Apple ecosystem. Many developers opting to use Unreal Engine over other proprietary development tools, suddenly shutting off access to an entire marketplace for gaming could have a huge impact with bifurcating mobile gaming in general.
In the statement released that was prepared by Kevin Gamble, the general manager for gaming developer experiences for Microsoft, Kevin declared that Unreal Engine provided by Epic Games, if not kept available on the Apple App Store for developers, would require Microsoft to choose between abandoning its customers and potential customers on the iOS and Mac OS platforms, or choosing a different game engine when preparing to develop new games.
So this is how that statement was issued. It was saying denying Epic access to Apple's SDK and other development tools will prevent Epic from supporting Unreal Engine on iOS and Mac OS and will place Unreal Engine and those game creators that have built, are building, and may build games on a substantial disadvantage.
They went on to say that A, developing a game using different game engines for different platforms may be prohibitively expensive and difficult. In any event, it is not as cost effective as using a game engine that supports different platforms.
B, as a result, many game creators, including Microsoft, that are preparing to develop a game targeted at multiple platforms generally choose those game engines based on the functionality they provide as well as their ability to support development for those platforms.
C, if Unreal Engine cannot support games for iOS or Mac OS, Microsoft would be required to choose between abandoning its customers and potential customers on the iOS and Mac OS platforms or choosing a different game engine when preparing to develop new games.
And D, because iOS is a large and growing market for games, Apple's discontinuation of Unreal Engine's ability to support iOS would be a material disadvantage for the Unreal Engine in future decisions by Microsoft and other game creators as to the choice of an engine for new games.
Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney sent Apple the following email on August 13th to inform Apple's executive team that they wouldn't be backing down from their intent to bypass the Apple App Store's payment system and would continue pursuing their own payment system for as long as it takes, if necessary, for many years.
Yeah, and so this is part of that that letter from Tim Sweeney. It says, "We choose to follow this path in the firm belief that history and law are on our side. Smartphones are essential computing devices that people use to live their lives and conduct their business. Apple's position that its manufacturer of a device gives it free rein to control, restrict, and tax commerce by consumers and creative expression by developers is repugnant to the principles of a free society."
It goes on to say, ending these restrictions will benefit consumers in the form of lower prices, increased product selection, and business model innovation. Henceforth, all versions of Fortnite that Epic submits to the App Store will contain these two payment options side by side for customers to choose among.
We hope that Apple will reflect on its platform restrictions and begin to make historic changes that bring the world billions of iOS consumers the rights and freedoms enjoyed on the world's leading open computing platform, including Windows and Mac OS. In support of this path, Epic's public explanation of our payment service will be neutral and factual to provide Apple with a chance to consider taking a supportive route and communicating it in a way of Apple's choosing.
And the email finishes off, if Apple chooses instead to take punitive action by blocking consumer access to Fortnite or forthcoming updates, then Epic will regrettably be in conflict with Apple on a multitude of fronts, creative, technical, business, and legal, for so long as it takes to bring about change, if necessary, for many years. And, after this letter, Fortnite was removed from the App Store. So here we go. This seems like Epic's in it for the long haul if this takes years to resolve.
They really are, because Microsoft and Epic have had their own bit of contention over recent years due to concerns that Microsoft would be walling off the Windows 10 ecosystem from other platforms with its unilateral Windows program, also known as UWP. This is a move that Epic Games viewed as controversial. Even Tim Sweeney's open dialogue with his feelings regarding the UWP and Microsoft certainly could have been attributed to policy changes at Microsoft that would help keep the markets open, not just for Windows 10, but also for the various VR and AR initiatives at Microsoft, including the HoloLens 2.
As it currently stands, Apple users are no longer able to purchase or reinstall Fortnite on iOS devices following the app's removal from the Apple App Store. Those that do have Fortnite installed and up to date on their phone will be able to continue playing the Battle Royale mode and other content in the meantime, provided Apple doesn't push out a service update that disables Fortnite and other Unreal Engine titles that are unable to update to a newer compliant release. And there are even some listings for, phones with Fortnite selling on eBay for, a stupid amount of money. So if such a time comes, given Tim Sweeney's previous remarks about remaining in conflict with Apple, it may prevent Fortnite from returning to iOS devices for quite a long time.
This is that moment of just paying attention to what's going on and feeling like an ant amongst right. human beings as these individuals are talking about what they're talking about. But the stance and Tim Sweeney being very transparent with here's what I sent. Here's the email. This is what I sent over. When you read it out loud, you're like, yeah, this makes sense. This is what's Apple getting all up in arms about? And their whole stance this whole time is our policy. It's our policy. Our policy's our policy. You wrote the policy. You can change the policy.
You could change the policy, and the way it was worded, where it's just very, feels very common sense, I think is also echoed by Microsoft, as Microsoft is saying, like, well, we're going to be forced to make a decision about using Unreal if, it's not going to be accepted on the App Store. Now you've pulled us into it, or, maybe they're inserting themselves into it, but regardless, they're going to be impacted no matter what. A lot of games are run on Unreal. A lot of programs are run on Unreal. This makes this fight way bigger than just an epic Apple fight here. And I think it also kind of gets into the territory of, monopolies, of a lot of people saying that internet is now a utility. It's not a luxury to have. And I think this kind of, it feels like it's similar in that they're saying, this is a phone. People need phones. It's not just kind of this, private thing anymore that you can just control everything on it, even though you're the company that owns it, because now it's so ubiquitous.
That is on the nose. I have, since I've recognized your job applications happen on the internet, you pay bills on the internet, you handle your banking on the internet. It's like, oh, so you need the internet in order to survive. And for a lot of people now, especially during, this pandemic, you need the internet to get yourself some food, to get yourself the items that you need at home. If you're someone who's at risk and you don't want to risk, going out and getting sick. So you need it to live, right?
You do.
So when Epic is saying that and addressing that as the case to be, Epic's already got my ear in that regard. But then also when you start to say, like, we're going to block things that are people's livelihoods, people who have no involvement in this decision whatsoever, developers. I mean, Drew was talking about this when he was on for the indie game interview that we did. Adiana, thank you. When he was saying, like, this is gonna jeopardize the potential livelihoods of Unreal developers if this goes through and they can't get their game up on Apple Store. It blocks them off from millions of people who could potentially want to buy their games. Why do they get thrown into this now?
Right. I can't imagine, Drew's so far spent, I think he said like 3 years on his game. Like, imagine spending, 3 years on a game and then people can't play it because Apple's like, oh, we don't like Unreal. I feel like that's just so awful. It's, it's putting this punishment not on Epic, but on all of these, creators that don't have any involvement and who don't have power to do anything about it. A lot of people who create these apps, like, they're not going to have the billions of dollars that Fortnite does to hire the top lawyers and to have this become a big legal fight. I hope that this doesn't take years and years and years to resolve. It seems like it might, because a lot of legal, issues do.
Yeah.
But I hope that this goes more into the territory of, recognizing that phones aren't, you can only privatize them so much, at least, or I'd hope, that's where this is going. Because as you mentioned, a lot of, work and your livelihood is online. Even schools are run through Zoom. If you don't have internet, if you don't have a computer, then you can't go to school right now.
It is a utility. It is a utility to survive. And that might be where this ends up going. Like, if we really think about it, because right now we can all agree that it's a utility, but I don't believe, especially in this country, our Supreme Court recognizes that the internet is a necessity in order to survive your daily life. So this could be one of those situations where that has to actually happen. It's the same kind of thing that might have been that was swirling around with, like, loot boxes. Is like, now we've got to start lobbying our congressmen and women to address this issue, because it's a deeper issue than this. Like, that's like paywalling water. Like, you would just be like, no, you can't do that. People need water in order to survive,
Yeah.
So ultimately, this is a feature which, when someone was saying in chat, Guff was addressing the keep shooting themselves in the foot. Apple does keep making these decisions where I think they might start losing users from the way that they're handling this situation, because these users were already stressed enough. We don't want to deal with more stress from our phone manufacturers being greedy, like clearly greedy.
This is just greed at this point. I also think it's wild that, on the surface level, this whole fiasco is just about, like, oh, we want a lesser percentage taken on, Fortnite in-game purchases. And it's just about like in-game purchases making money. But this does extend to like, is the internet a utility? Like, should this be allowed by these companies? Is this our right? All these people getting caught, in the crossfire with these developers on this app. And this is actually so much bigger of an issue than just like, oh, #free Fortnite. Like, I can't like buy my V-Bucks.
Yeah, this really is. And we just should, like it said, buckle up. Get ready to see that this is going to take some time. I want to believe in the best outcome, happening here and real change coming from this. But it might be a while before we see this go back to the way it was.
It will be a while. So, we'll be following the story. This is some of the, juiciest hot goss on the internet and has been for the past few weeks. I'm sure there's going to be more and more as we go along. But that does bring us to the end of our news for today. What is in your mug, Marone?
It was lemonade, y'all. You were so close when you said
not that hard.
When you said the sugar water. So that's why it was funny when it was like flavored water, and I was like close. And then it was like sugar water. I was like, man, you're really close if you combine the two. And I was like, but what kind of flavored sugar water? No one said lemonade. There was like orange juice. Somebody threw in whiskey. I was like, not when I'm on the show. I want to be able to maintain what I'm doing here. But yeah, lemonade, y'all. Lemonade.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more obscure than that for some reason.
Nope, it wasn't. It wasn't. They weren't expecting the lemonade.
Nice. He threw her in for a loop. So some of the topics that we're going to cover tomorrow are, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is expected to generate $2.6 billion in PC hardware sales in 3 years.
Billion. And we're also going to be talking about this Minecraft Education Edition, as it is perfectly suited for this surreal back to school time that we're in.
So we're going to be getting into that on our next show, but that is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we're going to run reruns. The VODs are going to be up. If you're watching the VOD, we are live from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific every weekday.
And if you are checking out our videos on YouTube, thank you for liking, subscribing, giving us those views. For all the wonderful human beings and DGN family members in the chat, adding to the conversation, thank you so much. And using that mailbag feature has been great because it's been helping us, really like hone in on what sources we want to talk about and articles that we want to bring up.
Yeah, we love hearing, what you're interested in. We love talking about things that, the chat is also, about and wants to hear news about. So thank you so much for your submissions. Again, that is !mailbag. And if you caught our interview with Drew last Friday and you didn't get to download, the beta of the Adiana game yet, we do have a command !Adiana.
Yeah. Water. Oh my God. No, it wasn't water. It was lemonade. You didn't fail.
For me, it was water.
Oh, yes. It was water for you. So yeah,
everyone
that's right.
failed for lemonade for Marone, but Kane guessed water.
Water. I love how you were like, water, they won't get it. It took a while though. It did. They were like, she's got to have this tea. She's got to have that. I love this. I love this. What's in the mug?
Yeah, this is great. This is great. But thank you so much for joining us today. I am Kaisa.
I am Marone. We love and appreciate you all, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.